Here we have the 2-hour price chart for Super Micro Computer Incorporated, stock ticker SMCI. Here we can see that we are seeing a bit of a breach to the top side here in this stock. We have seen some positive developments in the early parts of this trading day and trading week. In my view, this is significant because what this really means is that we've broken to the top side here within a sideways trading range. That almost starts to look like a bull flag pattern. I don't really like to look for price patterns that aren't really there. I wouldn't really, it's got a few characteristics of a bull flag pattern, but I wouldn't really, focus on that too much. More what I'm looking at here would be a sideways trading range, and then the fact that we did break above here today does look highly encouraging for the stock itself. Um, the highs have not been able to they have not been able to maintain themselves for a very long period here. What we can see is that the ultimate spike high came in at 963.39, and but then we fell back toward lows just above 920 here. So these are fairly significant price movements in a short period of time. I mean, we're talking 2 or 3 hours. We're seeing price declines of nearly $45. So these are fairly significant price movements. But overall, I think that the decisive move has been made here. We haven't really seen a close below, a close above this trading range, and I would prefer to see that to sort of confirm the breakout. But this is a sizable move to the top side. I mean, this range high really came in at roughly 925. And then we did see highs of almost 965. So if this is going to be a false breakout, it would be a pretty deep false breakout. That's not to say that that type of activity cannot occur with Supermicro. I mean, we have seen in the past. In previous videos, I've kind of pointed to this uptrend channel that developed here. This would have been during the second half of June, for the most part, that this was developing, where we saw price highs spike above the $1,000 mark and really did breach this channel to the top side, but then reversed lower quite quickly. One problem with this uptrend channel is that you can see the slope here is incredibly strong. Like it's a very high. It's got a very high upward slope to its trend momentum. And those types of formations typically have a harder time sustaining themselves. So, perhaps it's not completely surprising that we did see a failure here. But, if you were to look at this formation on the shorter term timeframes, it really does look like a false breakout. This current move is a bit more convincing here. Um, as I said, I would like to see a price close outside of this sideways trading range. But for the moment, I would still consider this to be a false breakout. I would still consider this to be a legitimate breakout, and I would not really switch to a bias focusing on a false breakout unless we were to see a break below these near-term support levels, which come in just above 867.50. So if we did see a break below there, then I would find it acceptable to start to consider this to be a false breakout. But as things currently stand, it does look like we have made our decisive move here in the market, and it does look like we're ready to start moving higher. Overall, throughout the technology space, I am starting to expect to see a bit more of a divergence here between tech stocks. In other words, a bit more of a mixed picture as far as who the winners and the losers are going to be for the rest of this summer trading period. Um, Already, at the end of last week, this Thursday price action was fairly significant. We really did see some massive declines in some stocks, and some stocks have not been able to recover those gains at all. I mean, if you look at Meta Platforms, for example, I suggest people take a look at that video because there you can see that the stock is really trading right back at its lows, and has had a very difficult time recovering itself. In contrast, Apple Incorporated, for example, had today posted new all-time highs. So it recovered all of its Thursday losses and then managed to kind of rally and gap higher to start the trading session. And the stock is now trading near And it's trading very close to new all-time highs. So, I think that we're starting to see a bit of a diverging picture here, and I think that we could see some winners and losers, into the later parts of this summer trading period. For example, I mean, another loser, you should also maybe check out my video on Nvidia, because that stock is really trading back toward its lows as well. So, that stock has been doing very well, and you can argue that maybe a decline was needed because the price spikes have been so massive in that stock. Um, but there are some major divergences here. If you compare Nvidia with Apple, for example, Intel was able to recover all of its losses and make new near term highs, not all time highs, but relatively long term highs. But the real point is that it was able to recover all of its Thursday trading losses, while some other stocks were not. So I am curious to hear about what people think as far as who will be the winners and losers here. Which tech stocks are most vulnerable currently? Like which tech stocks have the most room to the downside, possibly to extend, and which stocks are likely to kind of emerge as the winners during the second, during the later parts of this summer trading period. Currently, I would expect to continue to see upward price movements in super microcomputer. As we can see, we have this price breakout. We do have the stock moving above its exponential moving average cluster. And then we have still managed to maintain this upward trend line here. It has fairly consistently remained supported at this level. We did see a bit of a spike low here Monday, July 1st, but as you can see, there was no close below here, and this is just a 2-hour chart, so this would just be a 2-hour time frame. And prices did reverse higher, and we made some higher highs in the process. So here again, I would consider this to be a false breakout. I mean, this is a stock that is really kind of vulnerable to that type of trading activity. Anybody with history on this stock knows we have seen some tremendous upward and downward price movements that can start to come quite quickly. So, overall, with the share prices above the moving average cluster, we've got this break above the shorter term trading range. And then in addition to that, we do have this upward sloping trend momentum indication here in the relative strength index. So that does suggest that underlying momentum here does remain positive, even though we do have a bit of a shorter term trend moving in the opposite direction. So, we've got a bit of a falling wedge type of situation here. But I tend to side with the longer term trend when those types of patterns show themselves. And I do think that this is mostly supported by this upward sloping trend line here. So I would continue to focus on the highs. The next level to watch to the top side comes in at $1,015. And then, the first level to watch on the downside really does come in at roughly 867.70. So this would be the current market analysis for Super Microcomputer Incorporated, stock ticker SMCI.